This is
Welcome
the
back.
Old Doctor Who Show, episode number 151. 151, your favorite booze when you used to drink in the woods. Do you remember 151? Was that a rum of
It's
some
a rum.
kind?
Yep. And paint thinner, I think.
Yeah, when Dan was huffing and shaking it in the woods for money, for prizes.
Well,
Didn't
it's
really
sort of
have
a prize.
prizes for that.
The
I mean,
prize
the
was
real-
my freedom. I got to get out of the
real
out of the van.
prize was the friends you made along the way.
Right.
Dan, how are you?
Eric, I'm good.
It's been. We did every week. We did the 60th anniversary specials. For
Yes,
Dr.
we
Who.
did.
Then they released the Goblins song, of which I did my first reaction.
Yeah, you did.
And let me say, we are up to 3,000 views
Of
People
your
seem
reaction video.
to like reaction videos. So I don't know if there's other things we can react to. Today we got our first woke comment.
Oh,
That I can't.
that's a big day for us then.
It was not that we were woke, although I'm sure that would probably come at some point. But it was.
With any luck.
This is what you get when you sell your soul to Disney. Woke, like Disney Woke is like a subscription service that you can get.
Oh, cool. I just
I
subscribe.
And I commented on it,
Okay.
being like, "Have you not seen
The Gunfighters?
the Hartnell episode in which there is a song and dance, in which Hartnell gets dental surgery at one point?
Yeah, he does.
What about the Silver Nemesis, McCoy and Ace? Don't they fight the Cybermen with jazz? I feel like
That
there's
doesn't
a
sound.
jazz.
Why does that not sound
Maybe
familiar at all?
Maybe I hallucinated that. I feel like there was a jazz
They
element.
fought the Cybermen with jazz. I guess it's possible.
I think so.
Okay.
But anyway, so we've been getting a lot of good reactions from that.
That's terrific.
And so it was fun. So I know we have picked up new subscribers.
Yes,
so if
we
you're
have.
watching this for the first time, we are back. This is the Old Doctor Who Show. We did classic Doctor Who
Boy, did we.
audio reviews
Mhm.
for over 8 years. All of them now are on our YouTube channel. So
They're over somewhere.
Somewhere on the side, there's two different podcasts or playlists. There's this new show, which is video, and then there's the old show, which is audio. And if you are an audio fan and you've been with us from the beginning, you're
audio
hearing
fan.
this.
Right,
Yeah,
we're still doing that.
We're still doing the audio, but it's the audio of this.
Boy, this is getting nice and
You
complicated.
got to do a lot of background
Let's do
work.
a little math.
Little math. But I thought it is possible people are listening to this on their headphones, not realizing we started a video show, but we have a video show. So if you want to see the words that are coming out of my mouth and see
As
our
they're
faces
happening.
as it's happening, you go to YouTube, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But that's not why I'm here, Dan. I didn't come just to say all this stuff.
Oh, what did you come here
I
to
have
say
something serious to say.
then? Oh no, what?
Richard Franklin passed away. He was the actor who played Yates, or as we would call him, Benton Yates.
Benton
so he
Yates.
did the Yates half of the Benton
Yeah.
Yates equation. I saw that today, I saw it today, but I guess he passed away on Christmas Day.
Oh.
So there you go. Pour one out. I'm drinking for Yates, who, if you remember, he's the guy that went bad. He fell in with the wrong group, and then he ended up in that meditation
Yes, he did.
thing. Like they kind of did him dirty a little bit, but I always enjoyed
But then they brought him full circle and then he disappeared. Yeah.
I can't remember. I remember him going bad in like the Green Death, and like he was in some like cabal of uber rich people that run everything, right? So
Here's the
somehow
thing.
it was like a think tank, right? It was like a unit base, but something to do with unit, but it was like some kind of corporate think tank. And then he started to go evil, but maybe not. Maybe he didn't realize he was being evil, but
Wasn't he trying to infiltrate them at first, and then he kind of became? I don't know. See,
went
here's
too
the
deep
thing.
undercover.
Don't
Maybe that
remember
was-
any of this. None of
But
this
he
at
did
all.
pass away, so I just wanted to
Ah,
mention that because
I'm glad that you
we've
did.
covered so many of his stories, and
All of
that's
them,
sad.
I think.
Probably.
This is the first. Well, thank you for bringing that up. It is the first Doctor Who story that we're doing that has no connection to classic Who at all. Because at least the
Yes.
specials, there were recurring characters that are brought back. We had Mel in the previous ones, for example. This is all. I mean, no,
Well,
there's
yeah,
nothing in this. This is all
right.
brand new.
I
Who.
didn't realize that. Like there was a couple of times we have to talk about when we shake the crime stick and we
Yeah.
get on the other side of the review.
Yep.
At one time, I was like, "Oh, is this a connection to a classic Who villain or character that I'm not aware of?" Which we'll get to.
Well,
it is not. It seems like it is a new thing, but we will cover that in
I'm
the
interested to
the magic of the review segment.
Which,
Dan, do you have anything else?
I think we should just start the review.
Just
magical
hit
review.
the
Let's
the
do it.
magical mystery tour. Let's get it going.
Ready? Let's do it.
I don't know. We're still working out our.
Nope. This is as good as it's ever going to get.
It's a live workshop.
Every time's like the first time.
With the old Doctor Who show, the new old Doctor Who show.
Ready? Let's do it.
Shake the crime stick.
Shake the crime stick!
Merry Christmas. I'm the Doctor.
What's up there?
Goblins.
Oh, yeah?
I like how old I am. I have to put on these glasses.
I
feel
am
like
right there with you, buddy.
I feel just like Chuck Schumer sometimes when I'm putting on the glasses and I feel like I'm about to get nothing done. About to just
let America crumble.
Let it all fall apart. Dan, this
Eric.
is Christmas special 2023. The church on Ruby Ridge. This is the allegory of Pizzagate and a secret cabal of goblins that eat human babies in the pizza place in your heart. No, this is the church on Ruby Road.
Yes.
At some point in the past, it's never quite said. It's presented as a fairy tale. A mysterious woman abandons a baby outside a church of some kind.
That's why it's called the church on Ruby. Yep.
Right, the church.
You got it in the title.
Right. And the Doctor is aware of this happening because there seems to be some bad luck going on. And he's brought there, and it turns out that baby grows up to be someone named Ruby. And she's searching for her birth parents, but she's also plagued with bad luck. But bad luck, turns out, is the product of goblins. I guess we'll figure out why. Who like to eat babies?
We'll try to figure out why.
Try to figure out why. They
Sure.
like a couple things. They like music.
They do.
They like to eat babies.
Mm-hmm.
And they
rope?
like
They love rope.
Rope-based
rope.
economy. I'm not quite sure what's going on. The Doctor, who's loves to dance, the life of the party, is onto it. So he's investigating it. The two of them are drawn together in quite a coincidence. And they discover the secret of the babies. Dan, what did you think of? What did you think of the church on Ruby Road?
I'm very excited about where.
Oh no! Hold on.
What?
Wait. Stop.
Forget it. I'm not even going to say anything.
I forget to do this, and you need to give credit to the creators.
Please do.
Written by Russell T Davies.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Mark Tondrell.
Mm-hmm.
And this was on Christmas Day 2023. So go on. I apologize.
No, that was very good.
I think I forgot that last time. We should always try to say who's.
Like I said, this is 151 of these episodes, and we still don't know how to do it. I really enjoyed seeing the genesis of a new Doctor, getting to see the 15th Doctor on his first full adventure, getting to meet a new companion. It's always super exciting. You always have to remember that it's just the beginning, and it's going to go someplace totally, you don't know where it's going to evolve into, but I think it has some really interesting things starting off. It was a fun episode. It was very much a holiday special Christmas episode. They tend to be a little bit more kid friendly. I mean, I know this is a kid show. We're reviewing a kid show, but it's even more so, I think. So like the goblins are fun. I could have done without the musical number, but that's fine. It was good. Overall, really enjoyed it. I am 1,000% in love with this Doctor. Shudigatwa is fantastic. I think he's terrific. Ruby is a really fun companion so far. I like her family. All the characters are great. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun story. I think there's some interesting things we should talk about, but that's my top line, bottom dollar. You heard it here first. Dan likes it. Eric, what did you think overall about this?
Absolute trash.
Get out of here.
From top to bottom. No, not at all. 100% wrong.
Oh, Jesus. I was really worried.
I have mixed feelings.
Okay.
I didn't love it like 100%, but the stuff that I liked about it was more than the majority of my opinion. That's a weird way of saying it.
Yeah, no, I don't
understand.
understand.
It's like a 92% really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And 8% you could have did better.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll talk about the things I liked first.
Please.
Because there's too much negativity.
Well, do we want to do top line it? Then we'll go back through.
So. I'll just be real quick. I'll just bullet point some stuff.
Please.
I thought their chemistry was amazing.
Yes.
I really like the Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby Ridge, R.I.P. to the boys. I don't
Ruby
actually
Sunday.
know the true story of Ruby. I mean, I think I have an idea. It has something to do with guns. And this is my land.
Cut this part.
Yes.
This
so
is not...
Ruby, I really like Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the new Doctor's energy, and it's fun. And I like the idea. I guess we're gonna probably talk more about it. So I'll save that for it. But I like the two of them. I like the cast. I didn't love the Goblin. I like the Goblins, but I felt they were so underdeveloped.
Okay.
And it was a missed opportunity to do something interesting. I didn't mind the song. Like you said, you didn't like the song. I don't mind that. It reminds me of a Jim Henson.
Yes.
Clearly, like Labyrinth.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
are you reading my notes? Because that's terrific.
Obviously, they're stealing the baby, but that's an old
Yep.
art of folklore with goblins and stuff stealing babies. So like, I liked all of that, and I thought that was good. And I just wish that they had developed the Goblin and the Goblin King more and explained a little bit more of that. But that's it. So we could start at
yeah.
Where you want. And and I also love mystery. Right? I love all of the mystery, and there's a lot of mystery. You don't know who the mom is who's dropping the thing off. You don't know who what's that woman's name that's in the wheelchair?
Oh, Mrs. Flood? No.
Mrs. Flood.
Well, she's not in a wheelchair, but okay.
Well, she is in a wheelchair.
She's sitting in a lawn chair in front of her house.
Isn't she in a wheelchair?
No,
that stands up.
No, she's in a lawn sitting in a lawn chair. We'll get to it.
She does some standing.
She does a lot. She does walking too.
It doesn't
she's
matter.
carrying groceries.
Wheelchair or not wheelchair.
Well, just if you care about facts. If you care about facts, then it does actually. But whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I thought that she was in a.
You thought she was Davros. You're just waiting for Davros to return.
I thought like, the reason why Davros is no longer in a wheelchair is because now Mrs. Flood has inherited the wheelchair. No, I did see you do see her standing. I guess it's
you see her walking, dude. She's walking carrying groceries when the TARDIS disappears. So, part time. Which is fine.
She's sitting down at that point.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No,
We're
she's
getting
not.
lost. I love the fact that you don't know who she is.
Yes.
Is she another Time Lord?
Right.
Is she the mom? Why does the Doctor's sonic screwdriver beep for diamonds, but doesn't let him know that there's clearly someone who understands time travel?
Why does it look like a Fisher-Price toy?
Why does it look like a thing to tell you your table's ready at TGI Fridays?
Maybe it is.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. That's part of what I'm not a fan of.
Same.
And we'll get to that.
Okay.
But yes, go. We'll start at the beginning. Those are the things.
Let's start at the beginning.
Those are the things I like.
So you said from the beginning it starts kind of like a fairy tale. He's telling it.
Yep.
He's telling kind of in flashback. And when we first see the Doctor, we see like the woman in a black cape. Her face is covered, carrying the newborn to the church and sets it down. This is something I just wanted to a quote from what they said in his voiceover. The Doctor says, "As for the mother, she was never seen again. No one ever knew her name until that night a time traveler... Wait, no one ever knew her name until that night a time traveler came to call. A time traveler known as the Doctor." So Maybe
I didn't.
And
it's in Till.
Yeah, I went back and looked at it with the subtitles, and I also checked someone else's like fan transcript of it. In the subtitles, it's one sentence that says, "No one ever knew her name until that night a time traveler came to call," which is a weird thing to say. So does that mean, is it just because he's there, or does it actually mean like he's going to come back in time later and reveal who she is? Like, I don't know, but it's setting something up, which I thought was really fun. Same as you, love the mystery.
Clearly. I like all that stuff.
Set that up. Let's see where it goes. What I do also like is when we first see the Doctor coming into that scene, he's crying, and we don't know why he's crying at that time. So what we're actually seeing, the very first scene, is one of the later scenes.
Yeah.
But we're just seeing out of order, which is super fun as well. So it's like, why is he crying? What's going on? And yeah, that was really, I love that.
And all of the stuff with why he's crying, which we'll get to.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot more emotional weight to, I guess we'll get to all of this when we get to all of it, but like the foundling part and like playing with the Doctor, whatever. We'll get to it. So
I think that's great.
Start at the beginning. Yeah, we get that opening, and then we go right to December 1st. The dates were a little weird. Like, they make a point of saying, like, December 1st, she's doing the interview with
Davina McCall. Here. She actually is a presenter of a whole bunch of stuff, but the one that she's doing there is a show called Long Lost Family.
Oh, so that's a real show.
That's a show. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked all of that. I liked the interview, and it's a good way of sort of dumping a bunch of exposition.
And when you first see the goblin hand, like, those looked, when you don't see the goblins,
it's better.
It's really good.
And you hear
really
them.
Really good.
Yeah, the CGI part of it, and I did not watch the behind the scenes. I'm sure they released it.
This guy did.
Was any of it practical, or was it all? Okay,
yeah,
so there was some practical stuff.
It was actors fully costumed with the big heads on a green screen. They used that as a digital base. They scanned the sculpted heads and then used that for the base for the digital versions, which they then animated on top of it. So a lot of it is very practical. It's a mix, like a lot of things. It's a mix of digital.
I wish it were almost entirely practical. I feel like if it was puppets,
full puppets, didn't it feel like puppets?
It felt like it because I feel like they're going for that feel, but then there's this layer of
the digital on top of it.
Digital on top of it that cheapens it for me. But I'm old, and no. I like to look back. They should have hired Henson's company, which did like Five Nights at Freddy's, like seeing real practical animatronics and stuff.
Which we've seen recently. In Wild Blue Yonder, the robot was all this massive practical puppet, for lack of a better term. It was a big puppet. Like they have done that. This felt like it was, but like you said, you couldn't even tell if it was practical because of the digital, and then not only like digital animation, but then duplicating them. So that made it feel even more fake. I agree. Yeah. I would have liked to see it. But in these initial moments when you just see the hand and you hear the laughter and they're like starting to they pull the plug and set things in motion in almost like a Rube Goldberg sort of way. Love that. I thought it was really super fun. Cool.
I guess do we have to go in order? Does it even
matter?
No,
jump around. Who cares?
What is like their whole deal, right? So the goblins are on the edge of time or the universe, and they're riding time, he says.
Yes.
And then Ruby at one point's like, oh, they're time travelers. And he's like, no, not time travelers. Time travelers are this other level of
they're super cool. Whatever. These guys are not cool. Yeah.
But they are time travelers.
They travel.
They can go back where they want to go back in time. Because they go back to get her and steal her out of time.
Right.
They break the timeline.
Uh-huh.
So is he just being pain in the ass, like saying that they're not time travel?
It reminds me a bit of like Captain Jack Harkness, and like he has the vortex manipulator, and like the Doctor.
But they don't say any of that.
No, but the Doctor was always like looked down on that. Like there are other agencies and creatures that can travel through time, but none of them are like Time Lords.
It's the elitism of the Time Lord.
I think that's kind of what it is.
But he's not a Time Lord, but he is not. Whatever. It's all fine. But it reminded me of what you complained about last time, or maybe 2 times ago, that like, oh, now these people can time travel. Like you had said something, I don't remember who you were talking about, that like everybody can sort of time travel. And like, all of a sudden they can, but like, okay, so they create coincidences because accidents and coincidences make babies tastier, just to feed the king.
Yes.
With an elaborate like conveyor belt, and it just
Yes.
seems like a lot. I like the idea that goblins are everywhere, and the reason why I'm constantly dropping stuff
It's
is
because of
because
them.
a goblin is there. I
Yeah.
like that.
I
But
do
I
too.
felt like they built that little, some of that world building, but there was like no real payoff
Right.
to any of it. And I talked about this in my initial reactions. They're so underdeveloped, the goblins. Like the Doctor's interested in everything, but impales the Goblin King without a thought at like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what do they want? What's the like? It
So-
just felt like anti-goblin stuff. And as someone that
It's pro
writes
goblin.
two goblin graphic novels, it felt like a disservice. Like, come on.
These are not your goblins. These are different
They're
goblins.
not my goblins.
They're not your
And
goblins.
it just felt like sometimes they could have been more layered. They could have
Right.
been more interesting. They were just nameless. None of them get a name. They're
Except
just
for the Goblin King. Yeah, I don't understand.
It's
Like,
cute, and I get it. It's a Christmas special. Fine. I
but,
would have
but
liked to
somehow
look
the
at more.
coincidences make the baby tastier, and they're singing the song, and they're all going, "Now we feast, now we feast." But they don't feast. Like, it looks like just the Goblin King's going to eat. So but it's not just the babies, because when the Doctor and Ruby go up there, like, she asks, "What are they going to do with us?" Like, "Oh, they'll eat us too."
Yeah.
But like,
And-
so
and
it
the
has nothing to. I don't
Right.
know. They're just
It doesn't-
they're
it
just
doesn't have
bad.
anything to-
They're just evil, and it doesn't really. Yeah, you're underdeveloped.
The Doctor makes a comment too, where he's like, "Whose ship is this on?"
Right.
Literally right before they say Goblin
Goblin
King. If
King.
he had just waited a few seconds, he'd know.
Well,
As if
that's
he
a coincidence.
like he knows all about them.
Well, he's
right? 'Cause
learning.
he's like, "Whose ship is this?" I took that when he said, "Whose ship is this on?" Like, or "What ship are we on?" or whatever, as if he
Who's it?
knew. Oh my God, we're on a goblin ship.
But he knew
But
they
then
were on a
later
goblin
he
ship.
explains, like, "I don't know anything about these people. I'm figuring it out."
He knew
Which
that
is
they
a
were goblins.
characterization of him that I like. That he's like learning stuff. He's figuring out how the rope, system works.
Right,
And
he's
like
learning
all,
the language of
Right.
rope. He's learning the language of the coincidence and everything. I thought, that was really
yeah,
fun.
because
too.
Ruby's like, "How do you know this?" I don't.
It's a new
and
science.
I like that, but the
Yeah.
way he reacted, like, "Whose ship am I on?" as if he knew.
I didn't read
whose
it.
ship he was.
I didn't hear it that way.
It was in the
I
beginning
thought-
when they're
no,
in,
no, no.
like,
I
the-
heard it. I just didn't hear.
Yeah.
It didn't register to me in that way.
That's
I
fine.
thought.
I'm
I
over.
thought he was
I'm
actually
sure I'm
saying,
over analyzing stuff.
like, he actually didn't know who it was. I think he is actually learning about it at the same time, and
You're-
that
you're
was,
probably
that
correct.
was a coincidence. He said, "I wonder who it is," and then he's revealed, and like that coincidence thing happens in the last, in the third act of this. All the coincidences leading to the time crack, but yeah, I know, it was
Right.
yes,
It almost
agree.
felt like, it's like, oh, at first I was like, oh, do coincidences create? Because they say, like, when you're in an accident, if you're having a bad day, it entangles you in time, and then
It makes you brighter and more vivid, and yeah.
right. It would almost make more sense, like, oh, if there's a lot of coincidences or a lot of bad luck, that would be their opening to get into our world. But it's not like that, because they're
Right.
literally already here because they're creating that. It's all fine. I just wish that there was more. Just a little something.
Yeah.
They're so like one-dimensional, one note, whatever.
So
It's
a
fine.
little of this, is revealed in the behind the scenes. Russell T Davies says something along the lines of two things. One, he's always wanted to do a music, like insert a musical number into Doctor Who, but there was never a good time for it.
Sure.
And two, they never really deal with these like mythical things, and when they do, it's always explained in a science fiction frame. And he's like,
Yeah.
after the Toy Maker and all the things that we did with that, I felt like we could relax a little bit and do something a little bit outside of what we normally do, which I get as well. But it feels a little bit like, here's some ideas I've been wanting to do for a long time. Let's just shove them all in.
Yeah.
Which
And
overall worked. I thought I liked it, but that I think is what leads to it being like, it's not super well developed. It was just like fun things he wanted to do,
Definitely.
which is fine.
But there's also like a part that Ruby compares it to magic. And he's
Right.
like, it's not magic, it's science.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they still not giving
Fully.
us the fantastical.
Right.
It's like there's also some kind of scientific thing, but it's all, timey-wimey, whatever.
It's timey-wimey for sure.
Whatever stuff. But
Yep.
I don't know. I liked it. I'm looking at my notes here.
So when
Let's talk about
I want to talk
what
about this.
we don't like.
No, I want to talk about this doctor because
Yeah, well,
what,
that's
one thing I
what I'm
really
gonna
like.
Get to.
Well, I'm getting to it.
Get
so,
to it.
What I think is fun is when we typically have a new doctor. You can think about like the 10th Doctor. You can think about the 11th Doctor. They go through these and all the recent Doctors really figuring out what they're going to be wearing. It's really specifically with like Matt Smith too. It like goes through that whole like trying on different things and throwing them out and trying to find the right.
Right.
This
And
doctor
I
keeps
just rewatched like the Tom Baker robot story, and
Yeah.
that you spend like a long time
going
with
into
him
the
coming
wardrobe
in and
yeah.
out until he comes out with
until
his
he finds
outfit.
it. This doctor wears a bunch of different things throughout. I know it's not like a big deal. I just like it. I like first thing you see him, he's like in the club watching Ruby perform with her band, I think, and he's like wearing a big hat. Almost reminds me of like Farrell wearing that hat and like the big cowboy sort of hat with this bright orange thing, and he's wearing the kilt. The kilt has stayed consistent. And then when he's like in the clubs dancing,
Yeah.
this
the
just
second night.
it absolutely reminds me, and because it's Russell T Davies, maybe that's why it's on my mind. It reminds me of the British Queer as Folk. It's just that like exuberant dancing in the club. It just like the look of joy and like I just loved it. Just had a different feel than we ever see with the Doctor, and it just reminds me of something like Queer as Folk. Like I said, that was his show as well, and
it's a much different feel for the Doctor, and the dancing in the club, and like him having so much fun, and everyone around him having fun.
And it's not like the goofy dancing like the 11th Doctor when he's like Matt Smith doing like it's like it's like serious and joyful at the same time. Yeah,
that's kind of what I want to sort of talk about a little bit. Like the Doctor was always a weirdo,
right?
That I always took the Doctor as like a weirdo that not everybody could relate to, that was happy with in his own skin and his own personality, but people around him are like, what is up with this guy's, he's wearing a fez, or even going back to the classic stuff. Whereas this Doctor's more like the life of the party,
right?
Full of confidence, so much charisma. So it's a different feel. And at first I was like, I can't really connect with that. Like I like the Doctor feeling more like, oh, I don't relate to that, because
like
that
maybe
would
a
not be
misfit
me.
in a way. Yeah.
But I relate so much to her, and I feel like that's what the point of a companion is anyway.
Yeah,
is that way in, like her standing and watching and seeing someone else, and like I'm okay with that. Like I
love
feel like
that.
that's a different
that
way.
moment when she is absolutely captivated by him, and then he looks at her and they like lock eyes, like like it's electric. Their chemistry, like you said before, is so good. She's got an amazing amount of charisma. Everything he says is just like just blaring charisma. Love it. Go ahead.
Both of them together is really good, and I love her vulnerability.
Yeah.
When she gets the call from the TV presenter that they can't find her parents. And there's one moment when she's like, "Are you sure? Like there's not like anything out there?"
Davina McCall. Yeah.
Davina's like, "I'm sorry," and then she does this thing where she apologizes for something. It's like, it's my fault, and like that I can relate to.
Like, so true.
That's it. Like apologizing for something you have nothing to do with, just because you hate yourself in a way, and like you don't feel like you deserve anything. So it was like, then it works. Like, and I love the way that the Doctor, this particular Doctor, is like a mad inventor. Like he's making these gloves up, and like he's figuring out science, and he's happy to be learning. Like all of that stuff to me is like, okay, I can't wait to see where we go with this. I just hope that there's more substance and it's not all style. I'm okay with the fact that I don't relate to the Doctor as much, because you will not find me in the club having that much fun.
No, but also like this is his first like big story, so like we'll see where he goes and develops.
He's amazing.
You're right.
Like you're like happy anytime he's on screen. I do have an issue with, first off, it was like the sonic screwdriver can do anything.
Always.
Now
and they're really
Doctor's
leaning
like
into it.
Teleporting though. Like she sees the Doctor, and then she turns and the Doctor's popping up, and he's like, "You were just like, how did you do that?" And he's like, "Whatever." He's like, "He can do whatever. He's a cool guy." But how is he doing that?
Well, I mean, you don't know. Did he, for example, he that was two different times that he was there.
Like
you don't know.
He came back.
Right.
Like
it's fine.
A time machine. So
but I love that. So what about the psychic paper health and safety gin and tonic division?
A little racy for I think children's special, right?
I guess.
I don't know. That's fine. No, that was cool. I like him.
So some of those things they carry through, like the psychic paper was great. The Sonic, I just don't like the design of it. Period. I just think it looks like a children's toy. Apparently, though, like
it's weird.
He did like a little YouTube video. They've done a bunch of like Meet the Doctor, Meet the Companion videos, shorts. So I looked at the one, and like there is Gallifreyan writing on it that says
it's almost like a disc, right? It's more like a circle.
It's almost like two discs kind of joined. It's almost like if
like for a laser tag or photon, you would wear that on your chest and someone would shoot you.
I was thinking it was more like an old school Star Trek tricorder, but instead of flipping it open, it like spins. Sure. Anyway, but it has Gallifreyan writing in the middle that apparently is supposed to translate to the sharpness of the tongue defeats the sharpness of the warrior. I don't know. Anyway, that's
what Warrior's Gate reference.
That's exactly what it's about. But no, I don't like it because it is that thing that we talked about before, and that even classic Who acknowledge that it can do anything.
Yeah,
and it's a crutch, so that they got rid of it for a long
because the guy had a diamond in
his pocket. Specific ding that indicates that it was like 2-carat diamond. Like, okay, I guess I don't why.
Right, and then which is fine.
But that scene with that police officer, I liked that it was a combination of the using the sonic screwdriver, but then it was also a lot of very Sherlock Holmes sort of deduction. Like it's a carrot diamond, which means that he figured it out, which I really liked. That was really an interesting look at this character.
Yes, I feel like that's like that's his characterization of figuring things out based on the information and the data that he's looking at. Like, and he does that a lot. Like when you see the ropes and he's like figuring out blah 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 coincidences, and now I'm gonna.
And he's so excited about it. Whatever he's
very happy.
Figures these things out, and it's I'm trying to pick. You had said that before. Like it's a new science he's happy to be learning. Imagining what are the other like classic doctors, or even some of the like the 12th Doctor. Like how would he have been? And it would have been played totally differently. And I really
because he's cooler than anyone's ever been.
I guess so.
Too. I mean, I guess that doesn't really
depends on the era
with what you're saying as much like with the curiosity and stuff. But we've had like sort of curious doctors that would get excited. I feel like Jodie Whittaker was like that.
Yeah,
where she was sort of trying to. A lot of that stuff.
I feel so bad about that. I feel like a lot of those ends up being like, it's in the nick of time, and let me just do an exposition dump that doesn't actually mean anything. It's a lot of like babble to get us the plot moving, where this just feels a lot more like, oh, he's learning and excited. She's always explaining, and instead he's sharing what he's learning, if you know what I mean. It's a little different in a way. I don't know. But anyway, that's to say, he's great. It's super fun. Looking at my notes here. So go ahead.
I was going to say, so it's really like, there's so many different like sections we can do. So I just want to jump all the way to the end. So when the goblins break time.
Yes.
This is like a dumb nitpick.
Yes.
And she's ripped out of time. And I like we should talk, I guess, about her mom. And
her mom and grandmother.
I love them.
They were terrific.
Super entertaining. And I like how she's the opposite of the goblins. Right, you have the goblins that are eating children, and then you have her that's saving children.
Yeah,
the mom is. She's got like, I don't know how many.
33.
33.
Which I wonder if it means something. I don't know, but I like that.
Well, it's like it's a magic number. It's a lucky number. It's whatever, 33. So cool. I think it feeds into all that. But the point that when they take her out and she's, you see like the
alternate version,
the Jimmy Stewart movie, like what would life have been like without Ruby? And she's sort of like, miserable, and she doesn't take care of kids. Why are they not more concerned? Who is this guy in their house?
Right.
They never once say who.
Well,
I guess we're supposed to just assume that he's already entered.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's fine.
That's what I was going to say. So like, if the timeline cracked there, then an alternate timeline got him into that point, which we don't see how they got there, but she would have known that, but he did.
Right.
Yeah, so
he doesn't know that.
And he doesn't know. Right.
So it was fine.
But I love that scene too, because like the whole room cracks, then he leaves and he comes back, and her mother, Carla, is still dressed in the way that she was, colorful head scarf and like everything she's wearing. And then he leaves and comes back again, and it's all drab again. Like things change
little bit
quickly, and then it changed slowly.
And the grandmother lying down and not sitting up,
so
there's
sad.
Tons of those things.
She's wonderful. Here's the thing that I'm not sure how to feel about. It feels like a very Moffat thing to me than it does with Russell T Davies, where names that are nouns. So like River Song, when it was Moffat. in this case, we have
Cherry Sunday,
Ruby Sunday.
Ruby Sunday. It's
Carla doesn't fit, but like, I'm not sure. And the neighbor is Mrs. Flood. So there's another one of those like.
There's something with the flood. I'm sure the name.
Let's come back to that.
When we get to her.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing about how she is the opposite of the goblins. She's also, or the same, or they're connected in some way. She refers to like the baby as chicken, and I just want to gobble you up. And there's all this stuff like with eating babies. Too much eating babies. Now I know there are groups that are going to be yelling about Doctor Who and normalizing the eating of babies.
Oh no! Stop! Well, they don't need to eat the whole baby, just the adrenochrome from the brain.
Totally, you gotta exactly.
Oh my God! Don't even.
But no, those characters are great. You say it's not like the name thing, 100% Moffat, but
it feels Moffat-y to me. Yeah.
But with that aside, this felt so much like Rose to me.
Yeah.
As a first episode in Rose, like the Doctor has just come out of the Time War, so he's sort of depressed. We get that with this Doctor. He's alone. We get that with this Doctor.
You feel like this Doctor has that? Because
he says, I don't have anyone.
Other than that, and the moment when he asks, in the alternate version after time cracked, he asks Carla, why are you crying? She says, I don't know, why are you crying? Like, other than those two moments, it's not like the Ninth Doctor and the time. It's not them. It's not, the sad Doctor who's like trying to hide.
But if you remember Rose, like, he's smiling a lot. He's having fun.
Right.
Like, he's running around like with the automatons. Who's the
Autons? Yeah.
The Autons, yeah. He's having fun, even though he has all this baggage below. And I feel like you get that with this.
I guess maybe we'll see more of that.
And it's also like and this is something we should probably talk about. Like, it's a total reboot of the Doctor in the fact that he says, I have no one. Because if he really is a branched version of the Doctor, he doesn't not have anyone. There's tons of people, even at UNIT, that he must be somehow
I think he meant family. I was just thinking he meant family.
He does, but
I know what you mean.
Family, a found family anyway. Isn't that what the lesson of the episode is anyway?
That's true.
It's just really like, he really is starting from zero.
Yeah,
but again, I'm not letting go of what I think, which is that we are in a Donnie Darko situation. If you know the film Donnie Darko, this is a fragmented timeline that's not real because they say Mavity again.
They do. Yes, he does say Mavity again.
So I still think both Doctors are reconverging at some point.
And he says it without any sort of
or whatever.
When the Doctor previous he was saying it in a way that acknowledged that it was not right, but in this one it's just like it's Mavity.
Right, it's the word, because I think this is a fractured timeline or a different timeline.
So interesting.
Something.
I like it.
But yeah, it was good. I other than those couple of things, I'm trying to think of like what else.
Yeah, I mean,
wasn't great, but I don't know.
I mean, it really
was fun.
The weakest part to me really is that whole sequence. Like, it's great in how fun it is when we first come into the flying ship. Well, when we first see the flying ship, that's awesome. Actually, backing up before that, when we see Ruby loses the baby and then sees the blanket go out the skylight, and she climbs up, and she's fearless, climbs up onto the roof, climbs up, sees the goblins, and instead of like freaking out, she's like, "Did you hiss at me?" and like immediately jumps onto the ladder.
Right,
and the doctor's like
hopping like rooftop.
The way that he's
like Krampus.
He's so what makes me think like he is the action hero that Pertwee wanted to be.
Well, come on, you obviously haven't seen a Venetian judo chop. I think Pertwee was exactly who he needed to be. Yes,
but like the way that he's like so like jumping over all of the the chimneys.
He is like a superhero.
Absolutely, and then he's like, who jumps onto a ladder going into the sky, and then he does that as well. But then when you first
hold on,
see
the scene before that, to pause you because I like to disrupt your excellent flow.
Great.
I don't like when the Doctor when he got snowmanned. And he's like, you have a baby carriage at midnight. It's like, clearly you've never had kids. You don't know when your kid can't sleep. You're going to drive him around in the car to calm him down. Right. You may put a kid in a stroller. There's nothing wrong with that.
The thing
he was like, what are you doing?
Thing I didn't.
Whoever wrote that doesn't have kids. Does Russell T Davies have kids?
He didn't.
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. It's totally
the part that it didn't play for me in a way is because watching it a second time and seeing, like I mentioned before, he does the whole thing with the cop, and it's a very deductive reasoning Sherlock Holmes sort of thing. If that was a Sherlock Holmes moment, he would have been like, there's no baby in that pram because it's midnight, but instead he's wrong. Like, no, I don't know if I mean it's like it's,
well, he's not wrong because she's like, no, I'm shopping. But what I'm saying is, if there was a baby in there, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
you got a new mother. You got a lot of work to do.
Sure.
You can't get the baby to go to sleep. You may walk around at night. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you for interrupting because now I have no idea what we're talking about. Oh, so we see the Goblin ship, which I thought looked incredible. I love like the wooden ship
Super
with
Mario
the big
Brothers
sails.
3. Yeah, I feel like Super Mario Brothers 3. I'm jumping on the.
He didn't have a raccoon tail, which would have been perfect, but no, that was really fun. But when we first come in and see. Before the dance number starts, you have all the goblins there, and then like the two different goblins go swinging across. That felt, you said it before, but it felt so much like the Muppets to me. It was like the Muppets meet like Lady Gaga or something like that. Yeah, it was. So that worked really well. It's just whenever you got into this, we already talked about it. You get into the close-ups. It's like sometimes the mouths moved, sometimes they didn't, but it was all digital, so it should have worked better.
Right, and it's all cool and it's fine, and flying ships of goblin like. To me, that's like my wheelhouse. I love all that stuff. I just wish there was more of that.
Yeah,
like
develop it more.
Send them up, and then they sing their way out of it.
That's I think the part that really bothered me the most is like they come up off the top of their heads with these extemporaneous rhyming lines that tell the story, and also like whatever, it's fine.
And everyone is perfect.
Well,
and
what
then
did
they
you think
reverse the polarity of
the gloves.
Of gloves.
Tell me what you thought about the intelligent gloves, like. As a plot
I was okay
device.
with that. I like because it makes him like a Gandalf type wizard, but he's like thinking about I made these gloves because
solving a real problem.
Things like he's solving a problem. It is like ridiculous, but it's kind of charming in the way that he's. And I think he's going to be someone that makes things.
Oh, I like that.
And you're going to have like different things. So I was okay with that, and I didn't mind it being. Now it's heavier or whatever.
No.
What did you think?
No, I think it was fine. The way they like, I was wondering if you felt it was a crutch in the same way that the sonic screwdriver becomes
definitely a crutch.
But I think he can sell it. The like Shruti Gatwa can sell it, so it was fine to me. When maybe in different hands it wouldn't have worked as well. But I think it was weak. It was just a weak thing to just be like, but I like where you're going with. If he ends up being this kind of tinkerer, mad scientist that invents a lot of stuff, I will be 100% down with that. I would love to see. But
that. I feel like that matches his personality. Like, he's not gonna be the scrappy, always behind, trying to figure out what to do. He feels like he's more superpowered and will figure out a thing to get around the thing, and he's got this thing. And I'm okay with that. It puts him in a different place than her, as long as we stay with her and she becomes
the audience
focus of it. I feel like that works.
I'm super excited to see how that goes.
Your point's valid. I mean, it is like
it could be
convenient.
Yes, exactly. Very much the
and he does that.
The Deus Ex Machina.
Davies,
here's the thing we need at the moment we need it, but that's fine. I mean, it's he's spinning the whole story. Why not?
I didn't like the end though. Like. When they kill the Goblin King,
and then everything
just
disappears.
Felt again like it's well, I'm fine with everything disappearing. I just didn't like he all of a sudden he's because at the time he's hanging on the ladder, right? And he reverses
it down with the
and it happens to impale the king. I mean, he's also straight up murdering a whole population of goblins. Like. They have a right to exist. It felt like...
Man, you are so pro-Goblin these days. No,
I am.
I don't know.
Which is available now. You can buy Goblin,
here's a link below on the show.
Next year, Wolf in the Well. But, I don't know.
Well, actually, I don't even know if the rest of the goblins die. We know the Goblin King dies because he gets impaled. Does the ship and everything around it disappear because they were riding the time waves and now maybe they're back in their right time?
Maybe. Right.
So I don't know if it's necessarily
it
gone.
feeds into the idea of convenience. So yes, isn't it convenient that he goes down and it impales the goblin? I guess in a show about coincidences and so maybe.
Yeah, you can let that. Yeah, you can definitely read and answer into it if you want to. But I do like the idea like maybe they will come back. They're not gone. It's this whole idea of like is the toy maker the boss, like you mentioned in the last one. Or is he just another pawn that's being used by some greater villain that we don't know about?
Well, yeah, we know the toy maker's not the boss, right? He talks about he who waits or whatever. I forget.
Right. So there's
whatever
like,
So we know there's a third
some other
part,
thing
like
happening here. So these things might all come back again, and the
Black
the
Guardian.
rogues gallery. But I guess they did that. Whatever, it's fine. They can repeat ideas. It's totally fine.
But can we talk about Flood? Because I know you.
That's where I wanted to get to.
So jump on it. I know you want to get to that.
So here's the thing that I think is so weird. First of all, she's not in a wheelchair. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but she's absolutely not.
She's not.
So
I do have notes where I'm like, interesting that they have her in a wheelchair, and then she gets up and she doesn't need the wheelchair. But then I watch it again. You're 100.
But there is something interesting about her. So we first see her. She's arguing with the neighbor Abdul. She thinks that he put the police box there, and she says, "I haven't seen one of these in 50 years on the streets of London." And so she thinks it's a police box. Cool. She thinks Abdul put it there. Fine.
She says, "You always hated me." She's very angry with him.
To him, but very sweet to Ruby, which is funny. Later, the doctor goes into the TARDIS, and I forget where he was going. Anyway, this when he first goes back to the time crack and go back and get Ruby. The TARDIS disappears, and then revealing behind her, walking up the street, is Mrs. Flood carrying some groceries. And you see her, and she's like astonished, like what just happened. So that happens. That makes sense. When the doctor comes back again, she's sitting there in a lawn chair in front of her house, sitting in the cold, drinking out of a flask, just sitting there. And she says hi to the doctor. She's like,
so do you think it's like a quantum leap
something
situation
has
where
changed with her?
Someone jumped into her.
My theory is something has changed with her at that time, because now she's somewhat different. She's all nice to him and not just nice to Ruby. And then obviously at the very end, we have she's Ruby comes out looking for the doctor when she puts it all together and realizes, oh my God, he's like a time traveler. And Mrs. Flood points her to the box and says, good luck, Ruby. Oh, first of all, the moment, this is such a small thing, but the moment Ruby sees the TARDIS and then the door just slightly opens for her, it's just an exciting moment. I love that. And she does do the whole bigger on the inside without saying it. She gets that moment of walking. I just love those moments.
No, that's smart, because I didn't. Fun. The Flood thing that you said.
But then,
we have more.
Then at the very end, I don't know if they aired it this way everywhere, or if this was a U.S. thing for Disney, but it's almost at the very end, it says new Doctor, new Who, coming in spring of 2024. Yeah. Then there's the little thing at the end with Mrs. Flood and Abdul. And
I didn't see a thing at the end.
Oh, okay. Well,
after that, there's a scene.
So after that, there is a scene after that. Oh boy, okay.
Where she says TARDIS?
Yes, when she says
TARDIS.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Ooh, I was like, that's important. So Abdul's like, did you see the box? And it disappeared. It was there, and now it's not there. It's like, oh, you've never seen a TARDIS. And she looks to the
winks.
camera,
yeah,
and says it again. You've never seen a TARDIS before, and winks. So something has changed in her, and she's. This is my theory. She's, is she a Time Lord? Is she part of the whatever who waits thing? Is she the Rani? Is she?
Right. Who knows?
I don't know.
Because that would. Yeah, I mean, we also have the ring situation, the laughing thing with the tooth from the Master. Is it the Master?
I hope it's not the Master.
I didn't pick up on what you said, which was I could see she was different. Why is she mean to him? So mean to that neighbor in the beginning, and then she's friendly with him at the end. Yeah. I just thought she was weird.
And why does she?
But you're thinking it's a quantum
something
leap things. Someone went into her.
Yeah,
an entity went into her body.
He used Ziggy, the computer, and then he jumped into another body, and he just has to figure out how to get her out of prison. No, I don't know. But it is.
That's interesting
because she is definitely this is crazy. The thing just disappeared, and then the next time around, she's sitting there watching and sitting out in the cold, drinking out of a flask, which is just
it's very strange because I feel like
something's there. There's definitely something there.
If it's the Rani, or if
maybe
it's
another Time Lord or the Master,
Romana. Or
oh my God, you want it to be Romana?
That's no. I do, but I don't think it is.
I don't think so.
What I'm saying is if the doctor's got a sonic screwdriver that tells him when his table's ready, and also when a diamond is around,
2-carat diamond,
he would probably know if it was even the Master, right?
Remember, the Rani actually was able to hide from him in the time in the Rani. He was looking for someone and couldn't find her. So, and then there's also the thing the doors of the house on the street.
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of squeaking. Yeah,
that's cool.
Keep going.
The other thing is the doors of all the houses on the side of the street are TARDIS blue as well. Yeah. So is there something there? I don't typically do this.
All of that stuff though. That's
same.
What makes
that's the stuff I love.
So exciting.
What
to,
is
like,
going to
figure out,
happen?
like,
What things are actually clues? What's red herrings? Like it's fun. I'm super excited. But now we know it's spring is like so it's coming just a few months.
So with the flood thing, like when that woman, the actress, was there,
Yeah.
At first I was like, is this someone I just don't remember from Classic
Same.
Who?
Yes.
Because
She's
the way
not.
she was winking, you never thought TARDIS. I was like, oh, this must be someone from,
Yep.
whenever. It's not.
It's
It's
not.
a new thing.
I absolutely did the same thing and went and looked.
I had to watch it a second time because there's a woman when they're, and it's not the woman, but I thought maybe there's a woman in the beginning when they're playing the Christmas songs and the organ goes out and she's like, play. She says some song,
Play
which is
that
like
song.
old song, like an old classic Christmas song. I was like, oh, she's a time traveler, and it's this woman asking. It's not that.
But it's not her. Oh,
that was
right.
a weird scene that they took, and they stop, and she says, like, do you play? I can't. I wrote
whatever that
song.
It was a
down,
strange
I
moment
can't
as
find
well.
my note. But yeah, it's a useless piece of data I'm giving you.
Yeah,
but it's good.
We're here for it. Yeah.
Godet.
Yes, that's
Sacred
what it was.
Christmas song thought to have been composed in the 16th century.
Well, there you go. I don't know. Overall, super fun.
Yeah, good.
Anything left to talk about? I mean, how did you? The fact that the Goblin. I guess we already talked about it.
We covered everything. I think we both really like him. Again, he's so very charming.
Yeah.
Song is a little hard to get through. If you look at it, it's one of those things, like if you look at it the wrong way, like you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Right.
But if you look at it the right way, you're like,
it's all right.
I'm okay with this. Yeah.
It was right. I think it was right on the edge. It was right on the edge of that one. Yeah. I think it was it.
Don't like the sonic screwdriver.
Is that your squeaky toy or?
Yeah, it's mine. I get very excited when I start talking about Mrs. Flood. But Flood, like there's got to be something to that.
Is that biblical thing? Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
A flood and the timelines are being flooded, and she's
it is exciting
to clear away the thing. She clearly knows a TARDIS. I'm very intrigued by your idea that it is a pop-in kind of
something's
thing.
different, but maybe it ties into what you're saying.
Oh my god! And then maybe someone popped into Newton and named it Mavity. Is this the same No, that's probably good.
No, but I think that the fact that you're saying this is almost like a branch that needs to get healed at some point. Like maybe that's tied together in some sort of way. Like, I think it's really interesting.
Right.
I'm excited to see where they go with it. I think Russell T Davies
He
does set up plot points early that do tend to pay off. So I'm pretty excited, especially since he's had enough time to really think about this and consider like coming back. Like, I'm hoping it does all pay off.
I will say the last thing I want to talk about before we end this is I really enjoyed the direction of it. It felt it was very kinetic and a lot of hand holding stuff and a lot of zooms and a lot of it almost felt like a Paul Thomas Anderson or like Scorsese thing where we're zooming in, especially you talked about the first time you see the Doctor in the club and it like does that zoom in on him, and like when we're in the apartment and we're zooming into the kitchen and we're coming out and the lights on the wall, like it was a very, very like
energetic,
frantic, energetic, like kinetic experience. And the color saturation was very oversaturated, but I liked it. It was very colorful.
It wasn't whenever they were in the fractured timeline and Ruby had never been adopted, and it's desaturated.
Right, it was
really
much more
done.
effective.
I like, it was really good. Super fun.
Who do we think the mom is? Could Mrs. Flood be the mom? Like, there's something to her mom, right? Or are they just gonna leave it?
I think I think that is the big mystery we're gonna pay off. That and who is pulling the strings behind the scenes there. Right. Mrs.
And
Flood.
the Doctor,
that's all
his whole foundling thing and all of that came out. That was there were some nice moments.
I mean, it is in a way good that Russell Davies isn't like, well, screw all that stuff that came before. I'm gonna forget it. And we're just gonna do something else. He's adding on. He's using it and adding onto it.
Right.
Yeah. You can
and
see
even if it gets erased, it's acknowledged in a way that's part of it anyway.
Yep.
That's all good. So that's all I got.
Super fun.
Hopefully, what did you think? If you liked it, meaning you, whoever's watching this,
with the ears right now,
type it in. First hit like.
Yeah.
Then hit subscribe.
Sure.
Then go to Amazon, pre-order Wolf from the Well, available next year. Then get Goblin and see how Goblin should be treated. I liked it. So we'll see you again Oh, look at you.
And you can always get this
on
this
the
as
island
well.
of the Mad Magician. Your choose your own adventure story set in the same realm as Goblin.
Choose your own adventure style story.
So we don't have anything though until
that comes
March.
Yeah.
When is it? March?
It said spring.
No, it's
it just
later.
said spring.
Okay.
Who knows?
So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
We'll see.
We'll see you guys then. Until
All
then,
right.
listen to all the audio stuff as well. It's all here. Check us out. Go back and listen to all the old things. We've added more to our feed, so it had only been the most recent 100.
Yeah, we have everything.
All 151, including
everything but
Cushing.
but Morbius. The brain of what is it? The brain of Morbius. For some reason, it won't transfer over.
Anyway, but we got the Peter Cushing stuff, the 2 movies as well. So go back, check that stuff out, and then we'll see you guys in a new one coming in spring.
Soon. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Unless there's another reaction video we'll do. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, maybe we'll do some of that.
Maybe we'll react to the trailers.
Wouldn't that be fun? All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching. So, what did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments or write us at theOldDoctorWhoShow@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, please let others know about us. Share it on whatever's left of social media these days. If you want to support me, I've got a number of books available for purchase, including On the Island of the Mad Magician. It's available right now on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. The Wolf and the Well, the sequel to the graphic novel Goblin from Will Perkins and I, was recently announced, and it's available for pre-order today. It really does help a lot. Till next time, be good.
Where's my robot, you know?